5 years passed since the first contact between humans and the Vacnori. Lisa Martinez now worked as chief human liaison at the newly established Interspecies Embassy in Washington. The diplomatic building stood tall with its unusual architecture. Blending human and alien design elements, Lisa walked through the curved hallways, her steps confident as she headed to an important meeting. The alliance remained fragile despite years of negotiation. Not all Vacnori accepted peace with humans. Many still viewed Earth as a target for conquest. Lisa knew this better than most. She still remembered her days as a captive aboard the Sunspear Ambassador. Jarell waited in the conference room, her tall insectoid form now familiar to humans who worked at the embassy. The former commander had become an unexpected ally, advocating for peaceful relations between their species. Lisa nodded in greeting. Ambassador, the human delegation is ready for the trade. Summit Jarell clicked her mandibles, a gesture Lisa now recognized as acknowledgement. The Vacnori Council sends disturbing news, human Lisa. A faction breaks from our central authority. They reject our treaties with Earth. They call themselves the true Vacnori. Lisa felt a chill run through her body. How serious is the threat? Very serious, Jarell responded. Their leader, Khaleesi, believes our empire weakens through diplomacy. She plans to restore the old ways through conquest. Lisa remembered Khaleesi, the former first officer who had always seemed more aggressive than Jarell. Where are they now? Jarell activated a holographic display showing star charts they gathered near your system, Jupiter. They repurposed mining vessels into warships. The Council officially condemns their actions, but many secretly support them. Lisa studied the display. How much time do we have? Perhaps 2 of your Earth weeks, Jarell answered. They wait for reinforcements before striking. Lisa immediately contacted Earth Defense Command, sharing the intelligence. Kate Summers, the commander of Earth forces, appeared on screen, her expression grim. Thanks for the warning, Lisa. We still have the weaknesses you discovered 5 years ago, but the rogue Vacnori likely adapted their technology. Lisa agreed. They know. We know their vulnerabilities. They will have countermeasures. Kate nodded. We need something new, something they won't expect. Can your friend help? Lisa glanced at Jarell. The ambassador stood tall, her compound eyes unreadable. I will provide what assistance I can, Commander Summers. But understand my position remains complicated. The true Vacnori consists of my own people. Lisa understood the difficult position Jarell faced, caught between loyalty to her species and her commitment to peace. She placed a hand gently on the alien's arm. We respect your position, Ambassador, but we need options. Jarell seemed to consider this. I may have a solution, but it requires trust on both sides. Over the next days, Lisa worked tirelessly with Jarell, Kate, and a team of human scientists. They studied Vacnori technology, seeking new advantages. Earth forces mobilized, preparing defensive positions around the planet. The public remained unaware of the threat, governments deciding that panic would only complicate matters. Lisa contacted her old friends. Tanya Wilson now worked as lead engineer for the Earth Defense Fleet, while Grace Kim had become a professor specializing in xenobiology. Both joined the emergency response team, bringing their unique experiences. With the Vacnori, Tanya examined the designs Jarell provided. Their new ships have reinforced crystalline matrices resistant to water. They learned from our trick. Grace pointed to another section, and their environmental systems now include redundancies. Their warriors train in variable gravity conditions. They adapted to our previous advantages. Lisa studied the information closely, noting details others might miss from her time as a captive. They improved their weaknesses. But what about their strengths? Jarell tilted her head. What do you mean? Every strength pushed to extremes becomes a weakness. Lisa explained. The Vacnori pride themselves on their hive mind communication during battle. Correct, Jarell confirmed. This is true. We coordinate with perfect efficiency. Through our neural links, Lisa smiled. That might be our answer. If we can't exploit their weaknesses, we target their strength. The team worked through the night, developing a plan based on Lisa's insight. Tanya created a prototype device designed to interfere With Vacnori neural communications, Grace contributed her understanding of Vacnori biology, ensuring the device would affect their nervous systems without causing permanent harm. As the deadline approached, Earth forces took positions throughout the solar system. The true Vacnori fleet emerged from behind Jupiter, just as Jarrell predicted 20 warships advancing toward Earth in perfect formation. Their synchronized movements revealed their linked consciousness exactly as Lisa had anticipated aboard the Earth flagship Freedom. Lisa, Tanya, Grace, and Jarrell joined Commander Kate in the command center. The atmosphere remained tense as they watched the enemy approach. Kate turned to Lisa. "Your plan better work." "These ships outgun us 3-1, Lisa nodded confidently. The Vacnori rely too heavily on their neural network. Once disrupted, their perfect coordination becomes confusion. The Earth fleet held position, allowing the Vacnori ships to approach. When the enemy came within range, Kate gave the order. "Activate the disruptor." Tanya pressed the activation sequence on her device. A wave of invisible energy pulsed outward, striking the Vacnori fleet. The effect happened instantly. The perfectly synchronized ships suddenly moved erratically, several nearly colliding. Their formation broke apart as individual captains lost connection to the hive mind. Now Kate ordered fire defense batteries. Earth ships launched their attack, striking the disoriented Vacnori vessels. The advantage gained through the neural disruption gave humans the edge they needed. Even with superior firepower, the true Vacnori could not coordinate effectively. Without their perfect synchronization, they fought as individuals against a united human force. Lisa watched the battle unfold on the view screen. Her plan worked, but she took no pleasure in the violence. This would only be the first confrontation. The true Vacnori would return better prepared next time. The war for Earth's future had only begun. The battle above Earth ended with the true Vacnori retreating, but everyone knew they would return. Lisa, Tanya, and Grace gathered with Commander Kate and Ambassador Zarel in the secure strategy room beneath the Pentagon. The walls displayed tactical information as they assessed the aftermath of their first victory. "We disrupted their neural network, but they will adapt," Kate said, pacing the room. "We need a more permanent solution." Jarrell clicked her mandibles thoughtfully. "Khaleesi is resourceful. She studies her defeats thoroughly. The next attack will come with countermeasures." Lisa studied the star charts showing the retreating Vacnori ships. They lost 3 vessels, not enough to discourage them. "We need to take the fight to them, find their base." Tanya looked up from her tablet. "They could be anywhere in the solar system. The outer planets have hundreds of moons and asteroids, perfect for hiding." Grace, who had been quietly analyzing biological data, spoke up. "What about their supply lines? The true Vacnori need specialized minerals for their crystalline technology. They can't produce everything themselves." Jarrell turned her compound eyes toward Grace. "The human makes an excellent point. The rogue faction requires galvium ore for their neural amplifiers. This resource is rare even in Vacnori space." Kate immediately ordered scans focusing on unusual mining activity within the solar system. Within hours, they detected energy signatures consistent with Vacnori extraction technology. On Europa, Jupiter's ice moon, perfect hiding place, Lisa observed. The ice surface conceals their activities and provides water for processing. The ore. Kate began outlining an operation to investigate Europa. "We need a small team, a stealth approach. Their sensors will detect a large force." Lisa stood. "I volunteer. I know Vacnori technology better than most humans." Tanya and Grace quickly joined her. "We go together, like last time," Tanya said. "We work well as a unit." Kate hesitated. These 3 civilians had more experience with the Vacnori than any military personnel. The decision went against protocol, but these were extraordinary circumstances. "Very well, but you follow military command structure. Captain Amy Foster will lead your team." The mission launched 2 days later aboard the stealth vessel Nightingale. Its experimental cloaking technology, designed by Tanya herself, made it nearly invisible to Vacnori sensors. The small team consisted of Lisa, Tanya, Grace, Captain Foster, and 2 special forces soldiers, Mary Clark and Susan Campbell. Ambassador Jarrell remained on Earth, unable to directly oppose her people, but providing valuable intelligence. The journey to Europa took 3 days. The team used this time to prepare studying maps of the moon and reviewing everything known about Vacnori mining operations. Tanya calibrated their disruption device, adding modifications based on data from the recent battle. As they approached Europa, Captain Foster gathered everyone for final instructions. We confirm significant Vacnori activity beneath the ice surface. Our mission is reconnaissance only. Document their operations, assess their strength, find weaknesses. Do not engage unless absolutely necessary. The Nightingale landed silently on Europa's icy surface several kilometers from the detected Vacnori base. The team donned specialized environmental suits designed for the moon's extreme conditions. The surface temperature hovered around -160 degrees Celsius with radiation levels from Jupiter requiring additional shielding. They moved carefully across the ice following sensor readings toward the alien base. Mary took point scanning for security measures while Susan brought up the rear, watching for pursuit. The landscape stretched eerily around them, endless ice gleaming under the distant sun, and the massive form of Jupiter hanging in the black sky. 2 hours of careful movement brought them to a massive crack in the ice surface. Steam rose from the opening, suggesting artificial heating. Tanya scanned the area. These readings match Vacnori thermal signatures. Their base extends deep beneath the surface, Captain. Foster signaled them forward. One by one, they descended into the fissure using pitons and lines to navigate the slippery ice walls. The crack extended nearly 300 meters down before opening into a vast cavern. Below, they saw their first direct evidence of the true Vacnori operation. The underground space stretched for kilometers. Vacnori mining, equipment extracted or from the rock beneath Europa's ice. Hundreds of insectoid workers moved with purpose around processing facilities and partially constructed ships. Lisa recognized the design immediately. They're building more warships, Grace pointed toward a large structure near the center of the cavern. That appears to be their command center. Based on the energy readings, it also houses their neural amplifier network. Captain Foster documented everything with the cameras built into her helmet. This confirms our worst fears. They established a full production facility. They aren't planning a simple attack. They're preparing for extended war as they observed the base. Lisa noticed something troubling. The Vacnori workers moved differently than those she'd seen before. Their movement seemed mechanical, almost robotic. She pointed this out to Grace, who studied them through enhanced optics. Their nervous systems show signs of artificial stimulation. Grace whispered, "These workers aren't here voluntarily, they're being controlled." Tanya scanned the neural frequencies. Their neural network isn't just for communication. Calisi is forcing compliance using the amplifiers. She's enslaving her own people. This discovery changed everything. Captain Foster realized not all the true Vacnori supported Calisi willingly. Many served under neural compulsion. This presented both an opportunity and a moral complication. They retreated to a secure position to discuss their findings. The mission parameters called for reconnaissance only, but they now possessed information that could potentially end the conflict without extensive casualties. If we disrupt their main neural amplifier, Lisa suggested, we could free the controlled workers. It might cause enough internal confusion to collapse their operation. Tanya studied the readings. It would require getting inside the command center. The disruption device needs to be within 100 meters of the amplifier to be effective. Captain Foster weighed their options. A stealth insertion presented significant risks, but the intelligence value justified the attempt. Very well, but we maintain minimal footprint. 2 of us go the rest. Provide backup from this position. After brief discussion, Lisa and Tanya were selected for the infiltration. Their experience with Vacnori technology made them the logical choice. Captain Foster, Mary, and Susan would secure their retreat path, while Grace monitored neural activity from their position, providing early warning of detection. Lisa and Tanya carefully made their way down to the cavern floor, using maintenance tunnels to avoid detection. The Vacnori designed their facilities with efficiency in mind, but paid little attention to security against small infiltrators. Their confidence in their neural network left blind spots which Lisa had learned to identify during her captivity years earlier. As they approached the command center, Lisa felt the familiar tension of facing the unknown once again. The fate of Earth might depend on what they discovered inside the true Vacnori base, hummed with activity around them as they prepared for their next move. The Nightingale barely reached Earth ahead of the pursuing Vacnori vessels. Lisa, Tanya, Grace, and the others rushed to the Emergency Defense Council, where military and political leaders had gathered. Ambassador Jarrell stood to the side, her posture reflecting concern as Lisa delivered their report. Khaleesi has fundamentally changed the nature of the threat, Lisa explained. She merged herself with the neural amplifier, becoming a central consciousness for all connected Vacnori. Our disruption. Technology is ineffective against this advanced system. Commander Kate reviewed the footage from their mission, her expression grim. This explains the unusual formation patterns we detected. They move as extensions of a single mind. President. Eleanor. Mitchell leaned forward. How much time do we have? Captain Foster displayed the tracking data. The main fleet launches from Europa in approximately 36 hours. Earth defenses can be fully mobilized within that time frame, but our current technology cannot counter their neural advantages. Jarrell stepped forward. I have contacted the Vacnori Council. They consider Khaleesi rogue, even by true Vacnori standards. Her neural assimilation violates our most sacred principles. The Council will send reinforcements, but they cannot arrive for at least 7 days. Too late, Lisa thought. They needed a solution now, something to counter Khaleesi's hive mind approach. She looked at Tanya and Grace, seeing the same determination in their eyes. Tanya spoke first. The neural amplifier relies on the galvium crystal matrix. If we could destabilize that frequency. Grace continued her thought. The crystals must maintain precise molecular alignment. Any significant disruption would break Khaleesi's control temporarily. Lisa nodded, building on their ideas. We can't jam the frequency. But what if we overload it, force too much information through the network at once? President Mitchell turned to the science team. Can we develop this countermeasure in time? Dr. Helen Carter, Chief of Advanced Weapons Research, considered the proposal. We have the basic principles from Ambassador Jarrell's earlier contributions, but implementing a functional system within 36 hours. She shook her head. It would normally take months. Lisa refused to accept defeat. We don't have months, we have hours. And we have 3 people who understand Vacnori technology better than anyone else on Earth. The president made her decision. Dr. Carter, you will work with Lisa Martinez, Tanya Wilson, and Grace Kim. Provide whatever resources they need. This is now our top priority. The next 24 hours passed in a blur of activity. Lisa, Tanya, and Grace worked alongside Dr. Carter and her team, developing what they called the overload device. The concept seemed simple in theory. Flood the Vacnori neural network with excessive data, causing a system crash. The implementation proved far more challenging. In the lab, Tanya calibrated delicate equipment, while Grace synthesized specialized compounds that would interact with the galvium crystals. Lisa coordinated between teams, ensuring each component would function together. She hadn't slept since returning from Europa, running on determination and stimulants. Jarrell provided crucial details about Vacnori neural physiology. Though technically committing treason against her own kind, she recognized that Khaleesi represented a greater threat to both species. The ambassador understood that true peace required stopping those who would force absolute control, as ours counted down Earth forces, took defensive positions throughout the solar system. The largest fleet in human history assembled in Earth's orbit, traditional enemies now united against an existential threat. Military leaders implemented the strategy Lisa and her team had developed. The overload device required delivery directly to Khaleesi's command ship. Conventional missiles would be detected and destroyed long before reaching their target. A stealth approach offered the only hope of success. 29 hours after their return from Europa, Lisa stood in the hangar bay of Earth Defense Headquarters, looking at the modified stealth fighter before her. The small ship, barely large enough for 2 people, had been equipped with experimental technology designed by Tanya. Its hull contained metamaterials that absorbed rather than reflected sensor signals, making it nearly undetectable. Commander Kate approached Lisa. "You don't have to do this yourself, we have trained pilots." Lisa checked the final calculations on her tablet. "This mission requires intimate knowledge of Vacnori neural patterns. I need to be there to calibrate the device in real time based on what we encounter." Kate nodded, understanding. "We reviewed your flight simulator results. Your training these past years has prepared you well, but this remains an extreme risk. Mission." Lisa smiled grimly, remembering the hospital shifts that seemed so important before aliens entered her life. Some risks are worth taking. Tanya joined them carrying the completed overload device. The silver sphere hummed with potential energy. "This is our best shot. The device will synchronize with their neural frequency, then rapidly escalate input beyond sustainable levels," Grace added. "The effect should cascade through the entire network, temporarily severing Khaleesi's control. However, the window will be brief. Perhaps 5 minutes before her systems adapt." Lisa secured the device in the specialized compartment, designed for its deployment. "Who will co-pilot?" A familiar voice answered. "I will." Ambassador Jarrell stepped forward, her tall form now dressed in modified flight gear. "My neural pattern will help mask your approach. My knowledge of Vacnori ships will guide your insertion." The final hours before launch passed quickly. Lisa and Jarrell reviewed the mission parameters one last time. Their target, Khaleesi's command ship, would be at the center of the Vacnori formation. They would approach from below, using Earth's magnetic field to mask their signature. Once in position, Lisa would pilot while Jarrell calibrated the device. The Vacnori fleet appeared exactly as predicted, emerging from hyperspace in perfect formation. 17 warships surrounding a massive command vessel. Human defense forces engaged immediately, drawing attention, while Lisa and Jarrell's stealth fighter, launched from the dark side of the moon. Lisa, piloted with intense concentration, navigating through the chaos of battle. Explosions illuminated space around them as Earth forces fought with desperate courage against superior Vacnori technology. Despite being outmatched, humans refused to surrender their planet, fighting with remarkable coordination and sacrifice. Jarrell monitored Vacnori communications. "We remain undetected. Their attention focuses on the main battle. Khaleesi directs all vessels simultaneously through the neural network, confirming our theory." They approached the underbelly of the massive command ship. Its crystalline hull glowed with internal energy, pulsing in patterns that suggested the neural activity within. Lisa followed Jarrell's guidance, identifying a maintenance access port rarely used, but potentially accessible. Lisa activated the magnetic grapple, securing their small craft to the Vacnori ship. Now comes the difficult part. They donned specialized suits designed for vacuum and potential Vacnori countermeasures. Lisa carried the overload device, its weight significant even in zero gravity. Jarrell led the way, her knowledge of ship design proving invaluable. As they navigated through the access port, into the vessel's maintenance tunnels, inside the command ship, they moved carefully, avoiding sensor nodes that might detect unauthorized presence. The ship's interior glowed with the same eerie blue light Lisa had seen in the Europa facility. Crystal tendrils ran along walls and ceilings, carrying neural impulses throughout the vessel. Jarrell pointed toward a central junction. According to these energy patterns, the main neural hub connects directly above. This section, the crystal nexus where Khaleesi would be physically integrated. They climbed through access shafts, approaching the ship's core. The neural energy grew more intense, surrounding them with flickering patterns Lisa recognized as communication signals. Thousands of thought patterns flowing through the crystalline network, all extensions of Khaleesi's will. They reached a chamber directly beneath the neural hub. Lisa prepared the overload device, calibrating its settings based on the specific frequencies they detected. The plan required perfect timing. Once activated, they would have minimal time to escape before the system crashed. As Lisa made final adjustments, a voice echoed through the chamber, the familiar crystalline tone of Khaleesi. "Your efforts remain predictable, Lisa Martinez." Lisa and Tanya pressed against the cold wall outside the command center. The massive door loomed before them, guarded by 2 Vacnori warriors, their exoskeletons enhanced with cybernetic attachments, making them more formidable than any Lisa had encountered before. "We need a distraction," Tanya whispered, checking the disruption device secured to her belt. Lisa studied the facility layout on her wrist display. The environmental controls are 2 levels down. If we reroute the cooling systems, it might draw attention away from this section. Tanya nodded, working quickly through her tablet to access the Vacnori systems. Thanks to Jarell's intelligence, they had limited access codes, not enough for critical systems, but sufficient for secondary functions like climate control. With careful manipulation, Tanya triggered a cascading failure in the cooling system for the ore processing area. Alarms blared throughout the facility. The guards at the command center received orders through their neural link and quickly abandoned their post, moving toward the growing crisis. Lisa and Tanya seized the opportunity, slipping through the door into the command center. Inside, they found a vast chamber dominated by a pulsing crystalline structure. In the center, the neural amplifier network glowed with eerie blue light tendrils of energy, connecting to smaller crystals throughout the room. The technology far exceeded what Lisa had seen on the Sunspear. 5 years earlier, Khaleesi stood before the main console, her back to the door. She seemed different, her exoskeleton now integrated with the same crystalline material as the amplifier. Her form had changed, becoming something between Vacnori and machine. Tanya moved silently toward a maintenance tunnel that would allow them to plant the disruptor device beneath the main amplifier. Lisa provided cover, watching Khaleesi carefully. The former first officer seemed entirely focused on the displays before her, monitoring the cooling system failure. As Tanya reached the access panel, Khaleesi suddenly spoke without turning. "Did you think I would not sense your presence? Lisa Martinez. Your neural pattern remains in our system from your time aboard the Sunspear." Lisa froze as Khaleesi slowly turned. Her eyes no longer resembled the compound eyes of the Vacnori. Instead, 6 glowing crystalline orbs studied Lisa with cold calculation. "You underestimate our evolution," Khaleesi continued. "The neural technology you disrupted in orbit was merely a primitive version. This facility houses something far more advanced. I have merged with the network, becoming its central node." Tanya used the distraction to slip into the maintenance tunnel, working quickly to position the disruptor. Lisa needed to keep Khaleesi talking. "What happened to you, Khaleesi?" The Vacnori valued their independence, their individuality, despite the neural network. Khaleesi moved forward with unsettling fluidity. "I discovered something greater than individuality. Perfect synchronicity. The old ways kept us limited. This merger allows direct control over thousands simultaneously. We will not simply conquer. We will assimilate, beginning with Earth." Lisa noticed other Vacnori in the room, now standing motionless, their eyes glowing with the same blue light as the crystals. They were completely under Khaleesi's control, puppets to her will. Through her earpiece, Lisa heard Grace urgently whispering, "The workers throughout the facility. Their neural patterns are changing. Khaleesi is drawing them into deeper control." Lisa realized the danger. Khaleesi wasn't just talking. She was stalling while gathering her forces. Through the neural network, she could sense their presence and was now consolidating her control over the entire base in the maintenance tunnel. Tanya worked frantically to activate the disruptor, but something was wrong. The device showed no effect on the advanced amplifier. "Tanya, it's not working," she whispered. "The frequency is too different." Khaleesi laughed, a sound like crystal shards scraping together. "Your primitive technology cannot interfere with what we have become. Lisa Martinez, you showed us our weakness 5 years ago. We have not simply corrected it. We have transformed it into our greatest strength." Lisa backed toward the door, assessing options. The mission had failed. They needed to retreat and warn Earth about this new threat. But Khaleesi moved with blinding speed, blocking their exit. More Vacnori entered the chamber, surrounding them, their movements synchronized like a single organism with many bodies. "You will join us," Khaleesi said. A crystal tendril extended from her arm, reaching toward Lisa. "Your knowledge of Earth defenses will serve our purpose." Lisa dodged the tendril, remembering her training with Earth Defense Forces over the past 5 years. She had not remained idle since her first encounter with the Vacnori. As Khaleesi attacked again, Lisa activated her suit's emergency countermeasure. A pulse of electromagnetic energy burst outward, temporarily disrupting the nearest Vacnori. Through the confusion, Lisa spotted Tanya emerging from the tunnel. Lisa grabbed her arm, pulling her toward a secondary exit. "We need to abort," warned the others. They fled through the corridors as alarms blared throughout the facility. Behind them, they heard Khaleesi shriek with rage. The controlled Vacnori pursued, moving as a coordinated hunting party. Their movements suggested Khaleesi controlled them directly through the neural network. Captain Foster came through on the comms. "We see the disturbance." "What's your status?" Tanya responded breathlessly while running. "Mission compromised. Khaleesi has evolved the technology. The disruptor failed. She has direct neural control of the workers." Foster replied firmly. "Head to extraction point, Charlie. We need to get this intelligence back to Earth." Lisa and Tanya navigated the increasingly chaotic facility. Workers rushed in all directions, some still under Khaleesi's control, others confused as her attention focused on the intruders. They used this disorder to their advantage, slipping through maintenance areas, avoiding direct confrontation. They reached a junction where Grace waited, her expression worried. "The others are securing our exit path." "What happened in there?" Lisa quickly explained while Tanya checked their pursuers on her scanner. "The situation is worse than we imagined. Khaleesi has merged with the technology. She directly controls hundreds of Vacnori simultaneously." Grace processed this information, her scientific mind already analyzing implications. "She must be using the galvium ore to enhance neural connectivity. The crystalline structure allows for direct mental control beyond anything we understood about Vacnori capabilities." Tanya pointed at her scanner readings, multiple signals converging. "We need to move." They hurried toward the extraction point where Captain Foster, Mary, and Susan waited with weapons ready. The team retreated toward the surface, facing increasingly organized resistance. As they climbed the ice fissure, Vacnori warriors swarmed below. Their synchronized movements confirmed Khaleesi's direct control. Aboard the Nightingale, Captain Foster ordered immediate departure. The ship's engines roared to life as they escaped Europa's thin atmosphere behind them. Vacnori vessels launched in pursuit, their formation perfect, their coordination absolute. Lisa watched the sensor readings with growing concern. The true Vacnori had become something far more dangerous than they had anticipated. Earth faced not just an alien invasion but a hive mind controlled by a single consciousness, bent on assimilation. The stakes had risen beyond anything they had prepared for as the Nightingale raced toward Earth. Lisa knew their warning might be the planet's last hope. Lisa and Jarrell turned to see crystal tendrils emerging from the walls around them, the ship itself responding to Khaleesi's will. Lisa clutched the overload device protectively while Jarrell moved to defensive position. "Did you believe I would not sense your presence aboard my vessel?" Khaleesi continued, her voice coming from everywhere and nowhere. "I feel every molecule of this ship, every neural impulse, every thought." Jarrell stepped forward. "Khaleesi, you violate the most sacred principles of our kind. The Council has declared you Severan outcast beyond redemption." A harsh sound like shattering crystal echoed through the chamber. "The old Council clings to outdated traditions. The future belongs to perfect unity. The next evolution of our species." The tendrils moved closer, surrounding them in a tightening circle. Lisa checked the device readouts. They needed to get closer to the main hub for maximum effectiveness. Time for negotiations had passed. Lisa activated her magnetic boots, securing herself to the deck. "Jarrell, we go with emergency plan." Alpha Jarrell understood immediately. As Lisa secured the device, the ambassador fired a specialized cutting tool at the ceiling. The reinforced beam sliced through the crystal structure, creating a direct opening to the neural hub above. Lisa activated the device's launch sequence. The overload device shot upward through the opening, propelled by compressed gas rather than electronics which might be detected. The silver sphere disappeared into the pulsing light of the hub above them. Khaleesi's scream resonated through the entire ship, a sound of rage and disbelief. The neural network cannot be compromised. But Lisa had anticipated Khaleesi's confidence. The device wasn't designed to compromise the network but to overload it. The sphere reached the center of the hub and activated immediately. Surging energy coursed through the crystalline structure. Patterns of light accelerated from steady pulses to frantic strobing throughout the ship. Vaknori warriors suddenly stumbled confused as overwhelming information flooded their neural connections. The perfect coordination collapsed into chaos. The same effect rippled outward to the entire fleet, as ships lost their synchronized movements. Lisa grabbed Jarell. "We have minutes at most." They ran through corridors now filled with disoriented Vaknori. The crew moved without purpose, their connection to Calacy temporarily severed. The ship itself seemed to shudder as systems failed without central control as they approached their docked fighter. An emergency bulkhead slammed shut, blocking their path. Lisa searched for alternatives, spotting a nearby escape pod. Jarell this way. The ambassador followed as they redirected toward the escape pod's. Calacy would be fighting to re-establish control. The overload caused massive disruption, but a mind as powerful as hers would eventually adapt. Each second counted. They reached the escape pod bay as warning alarms blared throughout the ship. Lisa activated the nearest pod, its systems responding sluggishly under the disruption effect. They climbed inside, securing themselves as Lisa initiated launch sequence. The pod ejected from the command ship just as power fluctuations cascaded through the vessel behind them. They saw other Vaknori ships drifting out of formation. Their perfect coordination shattered Earth forces, seized the advantage, pressing the attack against the suddenly vulnerable fleet. Lisa piloted the escape pod toward Earth. Lines Jarell monitored the Vaknori fleet. The neural disruption spreads beyond our expectations. The crystalline structure amplifies the overload effect. On the main communication channel, Commander Kate coordinated the human counterattack. All vessels, focus fire on the command ship. Repeat, concentrate all firepower on the central vessel. Lisa watched as Earth ships converged, their weapons targeting Calacy's command vessel. The massive ship still struggled with internal chaos as the overload effect continued. The outer hull absorbed tremendous damage, but its defenses weakened with each hit. Suddenly, a new voice broke through the communication channels. Lisa's attention snapped to the display. "Ambassador Jarell, the Council fleet has arrived." Lisa looked to the outer system where 17 Vaknori vessels appeared, their design similar to the true Vaknori ships, but bearing the distinctive markings of the official council. The reinforcements Jarell had requested had arrived earlier than expected. The council ships immediately engaged the true Vaknori, targeting ships still struggling with neural disruption. The battle shifted decisively as Calacy's forces faced attacks from multiple directions, caught between Earth forces and council. Loyalists, the true Vaknori fleet began to break apart. On the command ship, Calacy fought desperately to regain control. The overload device continued pumping excess data through the neural network, preventing her from re-establishing dominance. Lisa monitored the ship's status through the escape pod sensors, watching as the massive vessel suffered critical damage. The command ship's main reactor destabilized, energy fluctuations growing beyond containment. Earth and council ships retreated to safe distance as the vessel erupted in blinding light. The explosion consumed the center of the true Vaknori fleet, Calacy's consciousness, and the neural hub destroyed in a single moment. The remaining true Vaknori ships, now completely severed from central control, either surrendered or attempted to flee. Council vessels pursued, ensuring none escaped, to potentially rebuild Calacy's vision. The escape pod carrying Lisa and Jarell was recovered by an Earth vessel. Their return to the planet brought celebration and relief. The combined forces of humanity and the Vaknori Council had prevented an unprecedented threat. 2 weeks later, Lisa stood beside Ambassador Jarell in the Great Chamber of the United Earth Government. President Mitchell and the Vaknori Council representative Maroki presided over a historic ceremony. The events at Europa had changed everything. A new treaty established not merely peace, but alliance between their species. Lisa listened as President Mitchell addressed the assembly. The attempted invasion became the foundation for unprecedented cooperation. Both our peoples recognized a common threat in unrestrained control. Both chose freedom over dominance. Together, we prevailed. Maroki stepped forward, her traditional Vaknori garments flowing as she moved. Our species began as conquerors. We believed strength came through domination. Ambassador Jarell showed us another path. Lisa Martinez and her companions demonstrated that true power emerges from cooperation, Not control, Lisa felt overwhelmed as both leaders turned toward her. In recognition of extraordinary service to both Earth and Vecnori, we established the Martinez Protocol, a framework for interspecies cooperation and mutual defense. The audience erupted in applause as Lisa received the highest honors from both governments. She thought about her journey from hospital nurse to galactic diplomat. The path had begun with abduction and fear, but led to understanding and alliance after the ceremony. Tanya, Grace and Lisa gathered in a quiet corner of the diplomatic complex. Grace smiled, watching ships from both species moving peacefully through Earth's orbit. Hard to believe, 5 years ago, we were captives. Now we're helping shape interstellar policy. Tanya nodded, sipping champagne. We still have challenges. The true Vecnori ideology persists among some factions. The technology Khaleesi developed remains dangerous in the wrong hands. Lisa agreed. The peace required continued vigilance. Cooperation between species didn't erase their differences but created framework for resolving them constructively. Some Vecnori still viewed humans as inferior. Some humans still feared the insectoid aliens. Perfect understanding might never come, but they had built something that could last. Ambassador Jarrell joined them, her tall form now familiar rather than frightening. The Council requests your assistance, Lisa Martinez. A diplomatic mission to the outer colonies. Some remain skeptical of alliance with humans. They would benefit from your perspective. Lisa smiled, accepting the challenge. Some risks are worth taking. She repeated her words from before the final battle. Her life had changed forever that night when she walked home from her hospital shift. To think the aliens watching from orbit had selected her, believing humans were weak. Now both species understood strength differently. As Lisa looked toward the stars visible through the embassy windows, she felt not fear, but anticipation. The universe contained countless species, countless potential friends or enemies. The human capacity for adaptation, resilience, and cooperation had proven more powerful than advanced technology. Neural networks could connect minds, but humanity offered something: greater connection through understanding. Humans had demonstrated that appearing harmless sometimes concealed the greatest strength of all: the willingness to stand against impossible odds, to fight for freedom and forge unexpected alliances. That quality had transformed enemies into allies, changing the destiny of two species forever. Lisa raised her glass to her friends, to Jarrell, to the improbable journey that began with abduction and ended with alliance. To unexpected strength, she said, and to the future we build together.